There are debates and debates and debates. I think it's a healthy practice, debating, discussing things, sorting out things, and trying to find ways and means with a futuristic approach, forward looking approach. We are a good nation. I mean, our elements of national power are very powerful. But unfortunately, they are scattered. They are scattered. And at the same time, there are certain conflicts that have not been resolved. We need an alternate dispute resolution at the national level. You can say at the political level, at the institutional level. Some people call it CBMs, confidence building measures. But who will initiate these CBMs or conflict resolution things? Sometimes I remember once Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, he said they are putting the clock back. And they mean people, everyone knows that the people in the trichotomy of powers, in the separation of powers, who had been wielding the real power wielders, they meant those people, the real power wielders. So they are putting the clock back, he said. And that is the problem. Now we today, after so many years, we are discussing where lies the problem, why are not we moving ahead, why are we far behind Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Ceylon, and other countries of the region and of the world. Despite, and we are sometimes boasting of our high GDP and high growth in the past, in the distant past, particularly when Mangla Dam was constructed, when Tribela Dam was constructed. But there are debates surrounding the construction of these two mega dams as well, that the waters of Pakistan were sold out. This sold out, this sale of Kashmir, sale of Pakistan, is a redundant theory. I think we must totally, I mean, abandon it. We must abandon so many theories. I think we must move forward on a fast track with the potential that we already have. So that is why when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto said we are putting the clock back, it was just like you take one step forward and 10 steps backward. So we are always on back to square one. So either constitutionally, either unconstitutionally, either judicially, or militarily, or even politically. Sometimes politicians also make politics hostage, and there are classes among the politicians. Most of the people say that still there is oligarchy in Pakistan, the powerful and the affluent and the Bradri people who have their say, their hegemony in their respective areas, and in whom people have blind faith. They rule and they become elite of the country and they decide the matters. I think there is a solution. All the politicians know whatever they have done in the past, whether they are good, whether they are bad, they must come out of this psychological syndrome. I am good, you are bad. I am good and everyone is bad. I am naked, I am virtuous, and you are vicious. So this is something very bad, because if we build up an unhealthy society, the polity will also be unhealthy. And if politics is unhealthy and filthy, your economy will also not grow. Your interinstitutional rifts and conflicts and tensions will also escalate, because by way of these conflicts, certain cleavages, certain leakages, they occur. And there the vacuum is filled by the people who interpret, or misinterpret, I say, the separation of powers, the trichotomy of powers theory in their own manner. They say, well, I'm not accountable to the others. The other institutions say, or their heads say, we or I are not accountable to others. We are accountable to ourselves. But separation of powers doesn't mean that you are not accountable to everyone. You are not self-accountable. It's good. Introspection, self-accountability is very good. But has it proved to be good? Has it proved to be beneficial to the people? Has it brought peace in our society? Has it strengthened our social fabric? Has it led to some solutions of our problems, solutions of to our hegemonic dictation and hegemonic problems? And have this have the messages been stopped given to the people that they are creeps being ruled by the elite? And there are classes of the elite as well. As one day a friend of mine told me that when we talk about establishment doesn't always mean the armed forces. They also include judiciary, they also include civil bureaucracy, they also include even one-time mullacracy. That is still, I think, our theologians are also dominating, because people sometimes believe them credulously, blindly, and they also create influences or even counter influences. So our society is you can say, a conglomerate of so many counteracting influences. So that brings, things don't reach, things don't work in harmony. So I think the responsibility still lies, even if the separation of powers is not working well, is not working according to its true spirit. That means that we should remain within our constitutional confines that have been defined in the constitution with clarity, but at the same time we should not take pride, we should not take refuge behind this thing that I am or we are not accountable to others. I think there has to be a mechanism, a supra mechanism of a super form, from different segments of the public. I mean, superior to even the present Public Accounts Committee. So they should be. I mean, if an institution uh, goes awry and violates the spirit of harmony, spirit of peace, spirit of existence, the spirit of peaceful coexistence. So some mechanism, some body must be there of sane people. I mean people. So those they must be accountable to them. So there must be a mechanism for that matter. I suggest that all the politicians, including the angry politicians, disgruntled politicians, hubris-laden politicians who hate others and call them dacoits, thieves, despite those thieves having secured and bagged millions of votes from the people, maybe through jhansa, maybe through fraud, or maybe through propagation. So, well, keeping this propagation issue aside, because this propagation is a mathematical constant that has to continue. People will continue giving false promises, making false promises. Even the pious ones have been making false promises. Aren't Don't you remember? So still I say that this hatred must stop. The politicians who have to lead from the front, they must lead from the front, and they should not lead from the front individually by hitting others and calling them thieves or dacoits and calling themselves pious and superior and sadhaka mean, truthful, virtuous, and deities. So politicians must lead from the front, and taking a cue from the charter of democracy, there should be a greater charter of greater harmony and understanding. The parliament, which means the people of the country, which reflects the aspirations of the people, it should be empowered, and not at the cost of any other institution, but it should be empowered. It should hold the reins of real power, and it should hold the reins of real accountability. Now, coming to the accountability, I was asking a very senior lawyer of Supreme Court yesterday Well, we have been having many laws of accountability since independence. When Pakistan got independence and came into being in 1947, a law was promulgated, Pakistan Anti-Corruption Act, 1947. It was known as Pakistan Anti-Corruption Act 1947. Anti-corruption establishment was established for that purpose. Then there were federal laws as well in this regard. Then, in order, to fight corruption, Pakistan Police Special Police Establishment came into being. Then, all of a sudden, Pakistan Special Police Establishment was converted into FIA, Federal Investigation Agency, through an FIA Act passed in 1974. Now, remember, I'm talking about anti-corruption laws, anti-corruption systems. And one anti-corruption system that already existed, instead of making it more vibrant and viable, another law was passed, another another system was created, followed by another system known as FIA. During the FIA period, it was living beyond ostensible means. Then after so many years, a NAB was created, National Accountability Bureau. National Accountability Bureau, and they say that assets beyond means. So what was the difference? Revamping of laws continues in every society. Even the revamping of constitution according to the changing realities also continues. But how will it happen? If the parliamentarians are in harmony with each other, despite their differences and hatred. So why is hatred, why is hatred, hegemony, your self-righteousness ruling our country? I believe you me, if we abandon this, it will take just in a jiffy we can abandon it. Just start thinking that you are an ordinary human being and others, your rivals, are also human beings. To err is human, they can also err like me. So we must realize our responsibilities and take the people, extricate the people out of morass, out of mess, out of chaos, out of despondency, out of dejection, out of dependency. We have very strong and powerful and influential elements of power that have been acknowledged by international strategists. I have myself interacted and talked, communicated with those international strategists. They believe that our potential is strong, effective, and if put to proper use in unison, after shedding all these hatred and differences, after empowering the people through their elected parliament, then things will start improving. Otherwise, I will say the same old thing. When I was asked the question, well, how things will improve in Pakistan, I said 4 or 5 prime ministers would have to be hanged, executed, to make things, to put things on a proper track.